Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Soul of Business with Blaine Bartlett. I am your host, Blaine Bartlett. Folks, we've got a treat today. If there's an Oscars awarded in the field of management, Thinkers 50 is probably where you want to go to find out who's who. And Oleg Konolov is my guest today, Dr. Oleg Konolov. And he has been nominated and he's actually been shortlisted for a leadership award in the Thinkers 50. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on around this. He's got a book out that's called The Vision Code. And just in my perusal of the book, I needed to have him on the show. He's just an incredibly talented individual, first of all, as a writer, but also as one of the preeminent thought leaders in the field of leadership development today. So, Oleg, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm very honored to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Actually, Blaine, for me, I'm blessed. Being on a great shows, actually, I'm having one-to-one coaching for free for the hosts such as you. Which is great. I'm learning from your questions. Thank you.
My pleasure. You're one of the Marshall Goldsmith #1 leading coaches. Which in itself is a pretty good honor. I've known Marshall for a period of time and known of him for much longer. I'm going to just start with an opening question that I typically will ask. When you hear the term "the soul of business," which is the topic of this podcast, what does it bring to mind for you? The soul of business.
Great question. And actually, I must confess that my understanding, or I've changed that understanding over the years, because initially I've thought, and I wrote quite a few works around corporate culture, and I was emphasizing that culture is the soul of organization. Whoever controls the soul controls the body, and so organization. And I was thinking, hey, culture is important. But on the back of my mind, it was a process. I was thinking for years about how to explore a vision and things like that. But at that stage, I was quite far away from truth. I was just touching it. And now I could say that to live a meaningful life, to have a meaningful business, which is impactful in a good way, which attracts and works like a magnet for people, as someone with a great soul, you must have a vision. Because without vision, you have just an organization with a pile of reports, without people really engaged with what they do. And in fact, you will realize that without vision and without clear understanding how it's meaningful and purposeful, it's only a certificate of incorporation. It's a piece of paper. Yeah. You need to have it. Because without vision, you can't get people on board in a true sense. Yeah, you're employing people, but they're just working for money. They're not committed.
They're just, Gallup, and listeners have heard me cite this statistic a lot. Gallup does an annual poll around employee engagement. Yeah. And for 20 plus odd years, it's hovered right around 87, 84, 83% disengagement worldwide in the workforce. And I marked that out, and I know that you're familiar with this. Yeah, in my work in corporate in the corporate world, I've been doing this for about 40 years, and vision has always been part of the conversation in every organization I've worked with. And usually, what I'll find in the boardroom or in the hallways of the office or whatnot, or the building, is that the vision statement is a piece of art. It's up on the wall. People have got it in their little card on the back of their name card or whatever it is. But basically, it's a placeholder. It literally is just artwork. It doesn't have any life to it at all.
Nothing.
It's
it's just
well, this is my question for you, because you were really effective with this. How do you bring vision to life? And this is very, very much tied to the soul of the business. How do you not only articulate that, but how do you keep it alive in a meaningful way that's impactful that connects people to what they're doing. How have you found that is actually accomplished? And I got a hunch it's kind of situational, but there are some generic things that I think people can pay attention to.
You see, actually is a very important question, and thank you for asking, because I'm learning from that question myself. It's another dimension or facet of vision. First of all, the vision itself must be very strong, and it's not, as you rightly said, it's not a piece of art, it's not a great plaque on a wall, because it wouldn't inspire people. It would be just like, what is it all about? Okay, cool. It's my promise, which would never happen. I wouldn't deliver this promise. The vision itself must be really strong, because I'm inviting people into the future. I'm creating that future reality being here now. And people so attracted to it, they want to be there, they're committing themselves. In fact, vision is our aspiration for the future that we strive to make a reality today. More or less, we're putting our signature on that future being here now. And a vision comes when your conscious awareness of a problem that you want to solve for the benefit of others reaches its peak. So it's nothing about we want to be a $1 billion company. Nothing about this. Because nothing for people in this. What people would gain for it. But to keep it live, of course, it's about great leadership. It's not about looking for consensus, because we're looking for consensus when we don't know where to go. But it's about everyone directed in one direction, everyone walking this way. But it's about making others the co-owners of vision, and for them to feel that they are co-owners, that they must clearly understand and see that they're getting the results of their vision. They're benefiting from them, and they're enjoying executing it, achieving it. And that's important, because then everyone would start adding value to it. Vision, it's not a promise that they will gain value in 30, 40, 50 years' time. No, it's value added at every stage of the vision achievement, at every stage of this journey. And people would see, yes, they're gaining something for themselves, for their families, for their colleagues, for their fellowship. It's for everything. And they start adding because they're contributing to something that they will get themselves.
Now, in the way that I've actually languaged that in the work that I do, what's oftentimes missing in the formulation and the presentation of a vision is an articulation or an invitation to inquire about the for the sake of what. Why does this, how does this make a difference? I mean, this kind of goes to your notion about impact. And impact has to be personal, if people are going to buy into it, in my experience.
Absolutely. Because that's a reason, because when you look at a vision, it has 6 criteria. Well, the very first criteria is stimulus. What is the value for people? And so it reflects the true core of leadership, acting for people, acting with people, and acting for their needs. So what's the value for people? But stimulus assumes response, immediate response, if it's really valuable for people. Because if people don't see the value for themselves, they will say, yeah, they would nod their heads, but it's nothing for them. And they wouldn't respond properly. So if it's, we talk about employees, they would be saying, yeah, I will do my job. And I will leave at 5. If it's clients, they will be saying, cool, but I wouldn't pay for it. If you're looking for supporters or investors, they will say, good idea, let's talk next time. They wouldn't respond to it. Because even at that subconscious level, they would be, it's nothing for me.
It's interesting. And that's the, I'll just check this out with you in your own experience in your coaching and consulting work. And when I've worked with senior executives, very intelligent people, these are smart people. I mean, know what they're doing. And when they go to articulate a future state, yeah, here's the vision, or here's the possibility that we'd like to manifest, they will tend to rely on logic. Here's the business case for why this is important. Here's what it will make possible for us as an organization. And what I've come to learn is that communicating with human beings isn't a logical process. It's actually a biological process. I need to tap into that feeling structure. And if I'm not getting connected at feeling level, I get exactly what you were just describing. I get a head nodding going, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. And yeah. Let me know when you get there.
Yeah.
Let me know when you get there, because I'm not coming.
Yeah, because actually it must be, if it's a great vision, and if I have a strong vision, I make others the multipliers of my vision, because I'm passing my passion through them. And passion is a serious business itself, because without that emotional value, it would remain a statement.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have that volume. It wouldn't have that soul touch. It wouldn't be a soul of something important that we all do together. And another thing is, in some phases, people believe about reincarnation of souls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think of a vision and think of a statement. What is the difference? Can I leave a statement as a legacy to the next generation of employees, or to my kids, or to the next generation? No, because that is just a statement that will be forgotten in a matter of minutes. But vision, we could leave as a legacy to the next generation of employees. So if it's true reincarnation, and so what I call, if you have a vision, you're living a new life every time when you are revitalizing it. Mm-hmm. You grow with it. Yeah. Your soul becomes.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with this philosopher. He's a 18th century Scottish jurist. Name is Thomas Troward. Thomas Troward. Mm-hmm. Did some fascinating philosophical writing. And in one of the treatises that he wrote, and this came out of his Edinburgh Lectures series, was around the notion of beauty. And in the way that he positioned this, he says, beauty is present everywhere if you take the time to look at what the soul is trying to express. So, for example, if I look at the Mona Lisa, it's just paint on canvas. But if I look at it through the lens of what's the soul, what was the vision of Da Vinci? What was coming through? And then I can apprehend the beauty of it, and I'm touched by it. And I want to stand in front of it for an hour or an hour and a half. And it's only a small painting. And so, the size of it is not that impressive, but the beauty of it is phenomenal. A sunset, the same sort of a thing. The beauty comes through. Vision has beauty to it, or if vision has beauty to it, then I think we've actually tapped into something. And that's one of the things that I heard you talking about here in the way that you positioned this.
First of all, I believe that every true leader must see the beauty in a world that would allow him to see the beauty in people. If you don't see beauty in people, how you could do something tremendous, how you could create a value for them, how you would really empower them. You need to see the beauty in the world around you. You need to, some people are better with understanding art. Some people are better with understanding nature around them. Doesn't matter. You must see the beauty in those things around you. And one of the interesting criteria I was looking when I was writing the vision code in this book, I was looking how to explore the golden ratio of vision. So how to reveal that beauty, because every strong vision is so elegant, is so beautiful, is so strong. Otherwise, how it could attract so many people around it?
Yeah. I love your tying the golden ratio into that. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the golden ratio, I'm not going to spend time to talk about it here, but look it up. Do a Google search on the golden ratio. It's everywhere. Yeah, I mean, and when I say it's everywhere in the context of beauty in particular. Yeah, there's the symmetry that is there and present with that. Yeah, we've got a meditation labyrinth out on the property here, and it was designed in accordance to the golden ratio. And it's a beautiful labyrinth. I love walking it. It's phenomenal.
It is.
The vision code. The word code implies that there's an algorithm that's in place here. Why don't you? Yeah, because the book was just published. Yeah, it came out a couple of months ago, I believe.
Yeah, it's released a few months ago by Valley, and Valley initially said, "Okay, we will run we will release it in the UK first, and then in a couple of weeks later we will release in the USA." Then they realized, no, it will go vice versa because the demand is there. So that was quite interesting process. I came from fishing industry background. I love and I believe in practical things. So if you're preaching about something, show how to do it. And this is for the first time in a human history where the nature of vision was revealed and turned into a practical model, business tool. So in the book, people could find how to create vision, how to grow as visionary leaders, how to check it in terms of viability. It's like viability test to make it really functional and pragmatic, because vision is not an illusion. It's very pragmatic or thought construct that offers outcome. And so how to influence and expand your vision and how to execute it, and so how to revitalize it. And also what was important for me to look how visionaries from across the globe, different people, brilliant people, how they think. Because vision is a different way of thinking. We talk about soul. When you have a greater soul, you're becoming wiser. You're not becoming smarter. You probably notice, Blaine, the people with great souls, they're usually very wise. And this is a difference, how these visionaries think. So how they're feeding their souls with the right ideas or with the right thoughts. And it was important for me to look how these people think and so act as a result. And here we are. We got a practical business tool.
Practical business. Now there's an oxymoron if I've ever heard one. Practical business. Yeah. We're going to take a real quick break right now, Oleg. And when we come back, I want to, and again, I'm going to come back to the nature of code, but I want to have a little conversation about how mindset actually influences somebody's ability to leverage that code. I mean, there's research data that suggests 95% of my behavior is out of sight, out of mind. It's habitually automatically regulated. Only 5% of my behavior is consciously directed. And that iceberg notion gets a very interesting interplay in terms of a leader's ability to get people to cross over a line, so to speak. Okay. So we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break, folks. And when we come back, we'll rejoin my guest, Oleg Konovalov. Okay, see you real soon here. I want to thank you for listening. I want to also invite you right now to go to blainebartlett.com. And on that site, which is my personal website, you'll see services up on the top menu. I'd like you to click on Leadership Mastermind. Now, why I want you to do that is we have structured a mastermind program that is very unusual and it is very powerful. And by going onto that site and clicking that link, you'll be taken to a landing page that is an invitation to join this mastermind. It's a 52-week long exploration of what it takes to be a highly effective leader in today's fast-changing environment. You won't regret it. And if you've been liking what you've been listening to on these Soul of Business podcasts, how does one become a leader that can keep connection to the soul of business? That's what we look at. That's what we're about in this mastermind program. So again, go to blainebartlett.com and click on the services link, and there you'll find the link to the Leadership Mastermind program. Look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for listening to this little commercial, and now back to our show. Welcome back. You're listening to Blaine Bartlett on the Soul of Business with Blaine Bartlett. My guest today, Oleg Konovalov. And Oleg, the vision code, pragmatic. And the intent was, how do we actually leverage, how do we build it effectively? And you said something about, there's a distinction between being wise and being smart. And wise people fill their heads with with a different kind of thought process, or they actually engage in a different thought process than smart people. And in business, most of the people I work with are highly intelligent. These are smart people. Some of them like to think they're the smartest people in the room, which is another conversation entirely. But pragmatically speaking, as a leader or a leadership team that has developed a vision for the future, and one of the things that I think effective leaders do, is they make possibility visible for other people. Oh, yeah. They make it visible. Until it's visible, it's not something that is actionable, truly. So when it starts to move into action, behavior becomes part of the process. Obviously, execution. We have to execute on the strategy, and so the tactics come into play. And research data, and I mentioned this just prior to taking the break here. So research data indicates that about 95% of an individual's behavior is rooted in what we could call their mindset. It's that unconscious or subconscious dynamic that is contains my belief systems, my biases, my family of origin. All of this stuff that gets bundled into this sense of who I am, my identity. And what I found that limits a lot of people in life isn't who they think they are, it's who they think they're not. And that lives in that area of that unconscious bias, that mindset. So when you're asking people to behave differently, which oftentimes is required if you're going to move into a vision, because you're going to a place that you've never been before. So you're going to, by almost definition, behave differently as a process of getting there. What have you found? Actually, two-part question. What have you found is likely to be the most difficult hurdle for leaders to overcome in that process in getting people to behave differently in pursuit of that vision? And so I'll just ask that first part of the question. We'll come back to the second part in just a minute here.
We're all of us, we have difficulty or issue, which I called a mind lock. So our thoughts are too much in the past, very little in the present, and actually none into the future. Even the smartest people, they're still exercising their position, still relying on the previous successes. But my previous success is a killer of my next success. I'm still relying on my past. But if I'm talking about creating the future, all of my thoughts must be there, because there are no answers for the futures. We hardly have answers for the past, actually. We don't know everything. And historians, all these history guys, they're very busy trying to dig out the truth, but they're still far from it, So it's about closing the gap towards the future instead of closing it towards the past. That's a very serious issue. And when I start, in terms of when I coach my clients or training people on my course, that's the first thing I need to do to weed them out from their past, out of their bubbles created by their past experience. Another thing is, many people love talking problems. If we talk about future, you better talk about solutions. You see, what I'm always explaining, look, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not digging into your past, I'm guiding you into the future. Therefore, it's nothing about this. We're creating vision which is times greater than you and your organization. When you see that vision, when you're creating it, you're ignoring those things where you have difficulties or weaknesses. Doesn't matter. I'm moving forward. I'm becoming unstoppable because that leads me everywhere, regardless of my background, ethnicity, age, gender, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People move forward. And this is a very strong force. There are quite a number of factors which should be really analyzed in terms of where you are. Are you sacrificing and committing yourself for that great future, or you just still hiding yourself behind excuses? Oh, I came from such a cultural background that doesn't allow doing something. Hey, if you want to change the world, go on. Stop it. We all have a huge list of excuses not to do something. But even you see really something great, you're ignoring this list, moving forward.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And yeah, just to kind of net that out, where my attention goes is where my energy is directed.
Exactly. And
So,
a great point, it's not about time management, it's about energy management. Because we are all injected with this wrong assumption of a time management. Time management is good for the factory workers. They need to produce so many spare parts or bolts and nuts within a certain period of time. But if I'm just a knowledge worker, hey, my energy is in my head, in my thoughts, and this is what I'm paid for. And this is what I'm devoting my life to produce energy, which would be converted into some kind of a value, real value for people. That's about energy.
It is, and it's we live in a field of energy. I mean, Max Planck talks about that. I mean, if we look at a quantum physics conversation around this, just in terms of this physical space that we live and work and operate and breathe and make love in, everything's vibrating. Everything vibrates in different frequencies. And
the definition quantum, translating from Latin, is how much. How much is dependency between the present and the future? And actually, the leader's role is to connect that present with that future. And so it's not just interrelated. It's not just connected. It happens simultaneously. Whatever I will do now, immediately is the signals there.
Yeah. That I mean, everything literally is in lockstep. There is no separation fundamentally. So, which is interesting when we start looking at how most people actually conduct business. They conduct business as if, and this is where, I mean, for those of you that are going to be viewing this on my YouTube station, over my right shoulder here is the book Compassionate Capitalism, A Journey to the Soul of Business. And I mentioned that in the context of connection here. Most businesses, in my experience, and this is where we've gotten down the road, I think a little too far in our capitalistic models. We operate as if we are separate from the rest of reality. And we're separate from nature, we're separate from, and then just kind of fill in the blank. And as a consequence of that separateness, we do great harm. And the idea of compassionate capitalism is if I feel connected as a business leader, I feel connected to my people. As a business, we collectively feel connected to our customers. We feel connected to our environment. Compassion begins to come in, and we start to make decisions that are in service to that greater connection. And where I'm kind of leveraging this is, my notion of the for the sake of what, and wise people thinking thoughts that are different than smart people, or thinking in different ways than smart people. And this is a different way of thinking, I think.
Absolutely. And, I'll start with something that you mentioned. It's responsibility for the future. We are all living artifacts for the next generation. Whatever we'll do will be judged by an extended result, not by the reports, because no one would be looking at the reports and the bottom lines, where they would be looking at how much we impacted their lives for the next generation. But the notion of, you mentioned about decision making, is very important, because here is a difference: decision and a choice. Because we're good at choices, and hardly few are good at decision making. And one of the reasons people don't know where to go, and therefore they're just relaxing on choices. Choice is a great excuse. We have done poorly because we had poor choices. Decision assumes commitment and responsibility. You decided to get married, so you committed yourself to this person forever. When we talk about choices, it doesn't assume much responsibility or commitment. Oh, we have this choice now, we might have another choice. So we're big fans of McDonald's menu because it's simple and cheap.
Choice.
Oh, so cheap that, okay, if you're not happy with a hamburger, you will go for chips, just like, and that doesn't work, because impact is tremendous. People, we must, when you see, to enable decision making, you must make people free by giving them a clear direction. We are not free if we don't know where to go.
Yeah, we can make choices if we don't know where to go, but we don't make, I think I'll just go this way. I think I'll go that way. Yeah, that smells good going that direction. The fragrance.
It's like, someone stupid with a lot of money in a shopping center without clear idea what to buy.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. That truly is. I have never heard anybody position the distinction between choice and decision in that way. And I love that distinction. I absolutely love that. I mean, and I'm going to steal it from you. So I'm just going to give you notice on that.
Too late. It's already in the book.
It's already in the book. Okay. Oleg, we're coming to the end of our time together. Unfortunately, I could go on with this conversation forever. I mean, as a parting gift, or as a parting comment, or as a parting thing, what would you like people to know about? And it could be something that you're up to. It could be, a direction you'd like to point them, whatever it might be. Where would you like to kind of conclude this as kind of a wrap up for you that makes it impactful for you and meaningful for you?
Most people believe that vision is a gift, and a gift for a few selected. It's not true. Vision is a forward-thinking algorithm, which I have shared so they could find about it in the book. And I wish more people to become visionaries and think about this, because we are responsible for making our lives meaningful, our businesses purposeful. So it's not a gift. Everything in your hands, and just take it, learn it, and go. If you're good at making a decision, I want to be a visionary, you have it. You will have it. It's simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. So at least they could ask for my service, or they could join my course, or at least read the book, and they will get a lot of lessons, because I brought into this book experiences from 19 brilliant visionaries from across the globe. But so my message would be simple. Vision is for everyone who could make a decision to live a meaningful life and run a meaningful business. And the second part of this message, when you got your vision, don't allow anyone to silence your vision. Reverting back to your analogy. What about soul? Don't allow anyone to ruin your soul.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm going to just ask you to kind of cap this off by, reflecting on how are you leaving it better than you found it?
Marshall Goldsmith asked me when I finished this book, and we had a conversation with him. I said, "What's your experience?" I said, "Marshall, nothing has impacted me to such extent as the work on this book." So when you have a true vision, when you have a true understanding what you do, it impacts you so greatly in a good way that you see that many things we live are really meaningless. And you're just literally focusing on the very important things. And that's another level in a quality of life. And I'm grateful for this. I'm blessed. Thank you. I want others to be blessed.
My guest, Oleg Konovalov, Dr. Oleg Konolov. The book is The Vision Code. Folks, I recommend a lot of things on this podcast, but this one has got a 5-star recommendation.
Thank you.
Go do yourself a service. Go to your favorite book vendor and get a copy of this, and take some time to not just skim it, not just read it, but to study it. And there's a distinction there. You decide to study it. You will be well served. This has been Blaine Bartlett. You've been listening to The Soul of Business with Blaine Bartlett. Go to my website. I mentioned it on the little commercial break, blainebartlett.com, and check out some of the resources there. Specifically, you may be interested in my mastermind program, the Leadership Mindset Mastermind. It's an ongoing program, and it will be well worth your investment. I can guarantee that. So again, until next time, Oleg, thank you very much for joining us. And I'd love to have you come back at some point in time.
Thank you.
So, you bet. Absolutely. Folks, we're out of here, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.